Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Muchaneta Kapfunde. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know. Today I'm giving a lecture on sustainable textile solutions. This is a space that I write a lot about. I write about the merger of fashion with technology. So my job basically requires me to seek out all the exciting new technology solutions that are available for the fashion industry and also for the textile industry. And I like to translate it for them so they can understand the importance of technology. Wait for the alarm to go off, okay? So today I'm going to introduce you to some of the solutions that I have found to be quite popular within the fashion and textile industry, and also solutions that I personally think are really kind of great. So let's begin. When you think of new solutions, they are, when I meant this comment, it's basically they're more than organic cotton, And by this I mean that, technology solutions are more than just the basic requirement. They are there to help change an industry to become better. So when you think of tech solutions, think of ways that it will help designers design better, help manufacturers manufacture in a more cleaner way. Most innovation is very human-centric. It puts sustainability at its core. So these are all kind of the key words when you think of new tech solutions. It's more than just a fabulous-looking sewing machine. We're talking about solutions that helps the industry move forward in a more positive way. So what is the holy grail when it comes to new solutions? I've put down these 5 key words: renewable, compostable, high-performing, pleasing material. And by pleasing, I mean, material that can actually, stand the test of time, material that can actually be functional and help, and not only just be about clothing somebody. Imagine having a t-shirt with antibacterial properties, or having a dress that can moisturize your skin. This type of material, that's what I'm referring to. Inexpensive. One thing that puts off a lot of people when it comes to new technologies is the idea of how much it's going to cost. I won't lie, it's true, it does cost that little bit more than your general material, but I really truly believe that when you invest in something, it becomes more affordable for all. So if we get all those big boys to invest in all these new technologies, the chances are for the smaller companies will be able to afford it. But the good news is that most of these new startups that come up with all these different innovations, they're super duper open to working with smaller brands, which I think is amazing. And I always say this because I know that some people that I speak to are always like, yeah, you talk about all these new solutions, but I'm a small company, how am I supposed to afford it? It's like, it doesn't hurt to get in touch with them and tell them, let's collaborate. I put that in there because I feel like I talk about these solutions like I've got like all the information that's going to change everything. The thing is though, the solutions are giving us an idea of what we could do. It's a possibility. Some of them you might come across, you might not be so impressed with. You might be like, well, it's not really what I want. Instead of looking at where they are now, because some of these solutions are still in their infancy, think about where they could take you in 5 years' time, what they could be. So when you look at technologies such as blockchain, or you look at immersive technologies, rather than critique what they're offering today, look at it like, what could they offer me tomorrow, and what can they do for my business? So we're in a race right now to become more sustainable. And how are we going to do this? Especially when the word sustainability means something so different to everybody and to every industry. I think it's important to look at those who are taking center stage. They are startups and they are companies who are actually pushing forward innovation right now. And when you look at what they're trying to bring forward, it might inspire you to think, okay, maybe this is the way forward, or maybe it's not. I always encourage people when I consult not to adopt technology for technology's sake. I like to sit here and talk about technology, but I don't want to push it on you. I want you to really have a good think about it. I feel like when people are educated, they make much more better decisions. So what I'm here to do today is to show you these solutions, not so you can run out and then adopt them, but for you to think about them and think, how can this help my business? Is this for me? Because if it's not for you, don't adopt it. because I want people to adopt technology for the long term, not just for the short term. So let's have a look at who's pushing boundaries. I'm sure most of you have heard of this brand, and it's all about kind of rethinking nylon. So I'm going to play the video, and then I will have a little chat about it afterwards.
It's nylon. We all know what it is, where it comes from, and where it ends up. But we are writing another story. From the deepest of the oceans to forests and landfills, through a unique regeneration process that takes place in Slovenia. We are transforming a waste problem into incredible design and fashion solutions. The resulting nylon has the same quality as virgin nylon yarn and can be recycled infinitely. Our EcoNeo regenerated nylon can be recycled, recreated, and remolded again and again, so you can create new products and buy new products without ever having to use new resources. No waste, no new resources, just endless possibilities.
I wanted to start with this particular solution because, whenever I bring the idea of new textiles and I introduce something made out of pineapple skin or orange peel waste or, God help me, like my cow poop, which has actually happened, people get a bit shocked. So the idea of rewriting a material that you're all very much familiar with, I feel it makes people much more easy to accept the innovation because it's not that they're given something so out of the loop, so out of normalcy that they're kind of scared of it. So I kind of like what they're doing because they're kind of saying, listen guys, we've kind of remade this material to make it a bit more better for the planet. What do you guys think? So it's not scary, I guess, is my point. The next one is First Mile, and they're all about plastic waste. But before I play this video, I just want to hit home about plastic waste. I'm a big advocate of recycled plastic to a degree. I really truly believe that when it comes to all the amazing things that companies are doing with plastic waste, it's a short-term solution. So even though I'm going to showcase this video, I want you to kind of keep in mind that if you are looking into recycled plastic as a source of material, think of it as a short-term solution, as a band-aid that we're going to have to rip off at some point. So yeah, so I just always want to say that because I don't want people to feel like I'm promoting plastic, which I'm not.
Our generation lives in a paradox. On one hand, we love to express our style and creativity online. On the other, we want to reduce all the production waste that has a negative impact on the environment. A paradox caused by the unwritten rule that we can't be seen online in the same outfit twice. So how do we secure a better future while maintaining our creative output online? With a digital clothing collection, a series of virtually fitted fashion items that you only wear in digital space. This is how it works. First, you take a picture. You choose a product from the web shop before a 3D tailor adjusts the product to your image. Now, your outfit is ready to be shared on social media. This is a new way of expressing our fashion creativity without leaving a negative footprint on the world.
You might be thinking, why did I include digital fashion? It's because it's another way of being sustainable. The idea of not actually having a physical product. The idea of creating something that only exists in the digital space. I know for some people in the industry that have been in the industry for 20, 30 years, this is a very scary prospect. How could somebody want to own something that they don't actually physically own? And whenever I try and explain how that works, I always say it this way. Imagine if I'm able to own this dress digitally and I don't actually physically have it. It would make me really rethink about whether I really need this dress. I've worn it on my Instagram account. Do I need to physically own it? actually, maybe I will, because I do love it and I own it. So it makes me change how I shop. It makes the consumer really think about purchasing products. And I think that's why, digital fashion is something that is gaining momentum, because as the industry starts to understand its value, they start to kind of invest a little bit more in it. We're going to talk about recycled polyester fibers. Let me just play the video first.
Everyone recycles, right? Surprisingly, no. Less than 30% of plastic bottles are recycled in the US. When we look at how much other countries recycle, we know we can do better. Because now, there's a wonderful fiber called Repreve, made from recycled plastic bottles. Because it's a fiber, Repreve gets made into things you can wear or use. Pretty cool, huh? Repreve is what's in recycled products that makes them, well, recycled. It's an essential ingredient in a lot of brands you know. Here's how it's done. You toss your plastic bottles in the recycling bin. Good job! Those plastic bottles are collected, sorted, and baled. They're cleaned and chopped into high-quality flake. Then, at the Repreve Recycling Center, the bottle flake is turned into something called Repreve chip. Just one silo holds 1 million pounds of chip. That's 27 million recycled plastic bottles. Then, Repreve chip is melted and extruded to make Repreve recycled fiber. Repreve fiber then gets made into sustainable fabrics. To look at them, you'd never know they're made from recycled materials. These fabrics then get cut and sewn into products. The unique Repreve process results in a high-quality fabric ingredient that is certified for recycled content. And way better for the planet. All so you can buy things made greener with Repreve. When you recycle, it all starts again. So remember, Repreve is what's in it that helps you lighten your impact. So recycle, buy recycled products, and join our green movement on Facebook. Together, we can create a Repreve for the planet. Repreve, it's what's in it.
I like what they stand for, but I also want to just stress the fact that, again, recycled plastic is a short-term solution. I included them in my slides because I wanted to show you guys that, you can do something. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be perfect. They are offering a solution to a problem that we currently have and helping us find a way of dealing with the waste that we have today. But will this be relevant in 5 years? I like to think not. I hope that we would use this as a step towards something a bit better than what they're offering, because when you do take a closer look at recycled plastic, it does always end back in the oceans, which is what we're trying to prevent in the long run. So we're kind of creating this circle of like, okay, we're recycling our plastic, but where does it all end up when we use our washing machines and we get the microfibers? So it ends up being even a bit of a problem. But the reason why I still kind of push it forward is because it's better than not doing anything at all. I'm sure most of you know Textile as a fabric, so let me just quickly play the video.
Welcome to Circular Economyville, where cotton textile waste destined for the landfill is diverted and upcycled into Refibra-branded lyocell fiber. Lenzing sees this waste and these challenges as an opportunity to close the loop. With our patent-pending technology, we take post-industrial cotton textile fabric waste as part of the raw material, and by using pulp, solvents, and lyocell fiber technology, turn it into virgin Refibra fiber. The result is a fiber that diverts tons of textile waste from entering landfills, requires 95% less water to produce than cotton, meets recycled and environmental standards, saves natural resources, and doesn't pollute the air, water, or soil. Refibra fibers are made with recycled cotton fabric, which produces beautiful garments that are smooth, strong, and supple. If that's not feel-good fashion, we don't know what is.
Lenzing are showcasing their fabrics. I know they're in the blue zone. I know they're also at the main hall over there. I like the fact that they are showing a different way to produce fabrics, and they're trying to be circular. I'm always championing solutions such as these because I feel like they're making that effort, they're showing the way. Doesn't necessarily mean that some of these solutions are going to be the be-all and end-all, but they're definitely good conversation starters, and they're definitely lighting the way forward to what could be the future. Dyeing is a problem that is really, really big when it comes to, especially within the denim industry as well. And I'm sure you've all seen the rivers with dye kind of chemicals in it and so forth. So when I read up that Ralph Lauren came up with this solution, I thought, you know what, I'm going to share this with the guys because it shows that there are some brands out there that are really taking the dangers of dyeing seriously and hopefully trying to implement that within their whole entire business objectives. I think it's really great when you get big companies like Ralph Lauren getting involved in this change that we're all trying to do, because a lot of companies are always afraid to take that first step to change. Oh, we can't be the first ones. So whenever I see big companies doing something like this, even if it's a little drop in the ocean, I always think, it's good to kind of say, okay, great, you've done this. What's next? And to kind of really encourage next steps. SourceMap is another platform that I want to bring forward and bring to your attention. It's all about traceability.
Hi, I'm Leonardo Bonanni. I'm the founder and CEO of SourceMap. We're a company that helps find out where products come from, so we provide software for mapping supply chains down to the raw materials. What makes this technology unique is the scale at which we can map a supply chain. So for the first time, a company can identify every actor in the supply chain. We do that through a graph database that is extremely powerful. It's extremely fast. And that means the supply chain is mapped all the way in real time. And that also allows us to verify the supply chain. We use machine learning and artificial intelligence to ensure that all of the relationships in the supply chain are accurate and up to date.
My name is Nana Tosma, and I'm the head of client relations for Satelligence. Satelligence is a company that uses satellite data in combination with supply chain data to offer insights in performance and environmental risk of agricultural commodity production.
So how does this work? We start by getting a company to invite all of its suppliers into SourceMap. And this works like a social network. They invite their suppliers and their suppliers' suppliers until we get all the way to the raw materials. In the case of palm oil, we're talking about going from manufacturing to import, export, all the way down to the mills in the countries where the products are sourced, and from the mills to the plantations, not just the very large industrial plantations, but also the smallholder plantations that feed into so much of the world's palm oil supply.
What we do then at Satelligence is overlay this with environmental risk information such as deforestation, and that way we can clearly identify both historically as in real time where the risks are happening. So we can tell an organization if deforestation takes place in concessions or in peatland or in any other areas that are of interest. At the moment, Satelligence is mainly monitoring palm oil, cocoa and soy supply chains, but we're also looking to rapidly expand this work to other commodities around the world. Having access to supply chain data is key to be able to put this information in the context of these supply chains, which is also why we are so excited to be working together with SourceMap.
Where we go next is to enable that mapping to happen at a much larger scale and for companies of any size. So we can say to a company, okay, you don't have to tackle sustainability in your raw materials on a project by project basis. You can just turn on a system that is continuously monitoring, and not just for deforestation, but also for those social and environmental issues associated with the raw material sourcing. And you can have that down to a very high level of detail so that every container that gets shipped full of raw materials actually comes with a clean bill of health that says this has been verified, it's been vetted against all the best available and real-time data. And we know that it's coming into the country fully compliant and fully in line with your standards.
If those guys have not convinced you why it's important to be able to trace your supply chain, then let me do it for you. The reason why this type of technology is proving popular is because a lot of companies are feeling the pressure from their customers to be able to show information about where exactly the materials of their product is coming from, where exactly are they manufacturing, talking about human-centric solutions as well, like how are your people being treated who create your product, and so forth. So it's really important to be able to be accountable for your product, to be able to showcase that, I'm doing everything ethically, and I'm being honest. So I always feel like when it comes to kind of that type of technology, whether it's kind of using it to find out, which are the great factories to work with, or using other technology that allow you to be a bit more transparent is the way forward. And I know some businesses are not resistant to want to be transparent, but maybe they kind of don't know what's going on. And having that knowledge or lack of knowledge means that you can just pretend like it's not happening. And I feel like with all these solutions that are available at your fingertips, there is no reason to not know what's going on in your supply chain, from the person, who works at the lowest part to the person right at the top. I feel like you have the solutions at your fingertips. It's just a matter of being able to learn what they can bring to the table and adopting them. Now I want to talk about open source when it comes to textile innovation. The idea of open source is a hard one, especially for the fashion industry. The idea that you work together and you all kind of give someone access to what it is that you're doing and let them kind of improve on it or work on it is very scary, especially for an industry that's super secretive and doesn't like letting anyone know what they're up to. But the good news is a lot of new companies are very much open to this way of working, which I think is super important, because we're not all going to solve this problem ourselves. We need to work together, collaborate, partner up. Imagine if you're able to create a product and then you do it on an open source, and then you allow someone to come along and improve on that product and make it better and take it to a level where you are unable to do it. And that's where this comes in. And I think that we need to be an industry that's a little bit more open to working together and a little less secretive. This is a project here that kind of adopted that kind of open source way of working. So I just want to share it with you so you kind of get an idea what it is that I'm nuttering about up here.
Nature and outdoor apparel are a far worse match than you would think. The textile industry is responsible for so much pollution and waste that it's impossible to ignore. We began to break that chain almost 30 years ago. And now we're taking another big leap, challenging the very idea of waste by launching the Mono Air, a fully circular fleece jacket engineered specifically to prevent microfiber shedding. But one garment is not going to solve the problem. So to inspire change, we're releasing it as open source. Every component, every design decision, and the circular principles behind the Mono Air is now available for anyone to learn from and build on. After all, we share the same home and we share the same problems. Why not share the solutions?
See, I think this is such a great way to move forward, to be able to work together in that way. But it's not for everybody, I agree. And there's other ways that you can work together or collaborate or partner it. But I kind of wanted to include that in for those who are open to working that way, to understand that it exists and it does actually move things forward a little more quicker. So that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much. I'm hoping that I was able to introduce you, give you a sneak peek into the solutions that people are adopting within the textile and fashion industry, and also give you like an idea of what maybe you can do and a curiosity to learn more. Thank you so much, and have a good afternoon.